Ready for another copycat recipe from Starbucks? I don't think you're ready. Hope you're ready, because we're gonna do it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lydia, or Lids. Today I'm gonna be showing you how to make another Starbucks copycat video. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Petite Vanilla Bean Scones. If you haven't, you're missing out, but not really, because you can make them in your kitchen way better. We're going to be comparing them, dissecting the whole thing, and just making them in our own kitchen, because homemade food is that much better than having to go to Starbucks. I think I paid $1.25 for these scones. I could totally be wrong, and the only reason is when I went to Starbucks to pick up my one scone, I had to get some coffee. Now, I had to get coffee because it was a long day. I got a venti. Not exactly sure how much that cost either. And then I was going to ask the guy for a receipt. Let me tell you, he was a little weird. So I didn't ask for a receipt. Therefore, I don't really know the price, but I went online on my phone.
Why was he weird?
You're gonna make me get into that, babe? It's kind of embarrassing.
Let's hear the story.
Okay. So I get up to the window, and it's this, younger kid. And usually I don't do my hair and makeup when I go to Starbucks, because let's face it, ain't nobody got time for that. So I, got all ready because I knew I was gonna be filming, had to look, decent for you guys. And I get to the window, I think he was a little bit surprised, and then he starts chatting with me on how my day was going. I was like, is this kid trying to flirt with me? Because, I'm like older. And then he starts talking, and I'm like, I need my receipt. And then before I know it, he passes my scone, my coffee, and he's like, have a nice day. And I'm like, what about my card? And then he passes me my card, and then he's like, bye, bye. And I was like, what? That's my story. I kid you not, that's what happened.
So you forgot your receipt.
Yes, I was gonna ask for a receipt after he went, bye. Wish you guys would have saw that. It was awesome. He was a nice kid, but I'm older, so that ain't gonna work. And I'm married, so we ain't playing that game. Anyways, today I'm gonna show you how to make these scones. Super delicious, pretty easy to make, pretty basic ingredients. You do need vanilla beans before I get into the recipe, just because it is a vanilla bean scone. But before we get started on making the recipe, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel, comment, give me a like. Let me know if you guys have any awesome recommendations that you guys want me to make on my channel, or any recreations from Starbucks, other places that you guys are curious about. I'll try to work it out so I can make these things. And yeah, let's get on with this recipe. Start this recipe by preheating your oven to 425 degrees and line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Next, add in your flour, your sugar, your baking powder, and your salt to a food processor, and just pulse it until it is nicely combined. Once it is nicely combined, you are going to want to add in your butter that has been cubed. Make sure it's cold. That's the only way you can really cube it, if it's cold. And then go ahead and start pulsing this also. You want to pulse it until it resembles fine breadcrumbs or coarse meal, kind of like this. Once it looks like this, some pieces are going to be larger, some are smaller. That is perfect. So you want to go ahead and put the lid back on. Start whisking your egg. So we're working on our wet ingredients now. So whisk your egg, add your egg to your heavy cream, and then you are going to want to add your vanilla bean paste. Now, this is vanilla bean paste that I bought off of Amazon, and this is super expensive. This stuff got so expensive over the years. I don't know what happened, because I bought this a few years ago and it was super cheap. I'll get into that later. So anyways, add in your vanilla bean paste. Make sure you're scraping every last drop of it, if you can, out of your ramekin, and then go ahead and give the wet ingredients a good mixture. You better bet I used up all of that vanilla bean paste. I wasn't messing around. This stuff is like liquid gold. So once everything is nicely combined, all your wet ingredients are combined, there's this little piece on your food processor. You want to take it out. It does come out. It took me like a year to figure that out. Yeah, go figure. So I went ahead and turned on my food processor, and while that was going, I went ahead and added my wet ingredients to my dry ingredients. Do this slowly and you'll see that it starts coming together. Once it came together, I went ahead and scraped my measuring cup of all of those vanilla bean. So I actually bought vanilla bean paste about 7 years ago, and I bought a 32-ounce container that was like $32, maybe not even $40. And when I went back this time to look for it, it was like $140. Talking about highway robbery. So once you've added your wet ingredients to your dry, just let it come together until it forms a ball. Once it forms a ball, take it out of your food processor. Be very careful with that blade because it is super sharp. So set that aside. Get every last drop of dough from your food processor out. Make sure there is no lingering pieces. And then you want to bring this dough together and you want to divide it into 3 equal portions. I realized that my portions were not equal, so I asked my husband to bring my weight scale, and then I just placed these 3 pieces on the weight scale, and I went ahead and weighed each one individually, and then I adjusted accordingly just so that they can be nice and even. You don't have to do this, but I wanted the final product to look cohesive and to be as even as I can get it, just because sometimes I'm a perfectionist like that. So once they were at that stage and each one weighed the same, I went ahead and started flattening each one individually and forming it into a round disc. You don't want this to be too thick. You want it to be about 1.5 inches in thickness. And once it is nice and round and beautiful looking, and all 3 discs are roughly the same, you want to start slicing them. So you are going to slice them in half, and then those halves you slice in half. So basically you're going to keep doing this until you have 8 equal triangles, kind of like a pizza. So once they look something like this, then you know that you are ready to place them on your prepared baking sheet. So work carefully and try to be working slowly, just because if you work fast, you can kind of damage the dough. The dough is like extremely soft. So I just went ahead and sliced them equally using this big knife. And then I used a fish spatula and my hands to gently lift these up. Place these wedges onto your prepared baking sheet. Be careful with them. I just alternate it between the tops and the bottom, kind of like you see me doing here. And you do want to leave a little bit of room in between them so they will have a chance to grow. You don't want them to be touching. Be gentle with them, like I said, because they are very soft, like the dough is really soft, and they just rise slightly in the oven. They don't grow too much, but make sure that there is room. So once you've placed each and every single one of them onto your baking sheet, I went ahead and I started making sure that they were all formed nicely. I used my fingers to fix any imperfection. I made sure that they look like triangles because these scones are in the shape of triangles. I know some scones are circular, but these are just wedges. So make sure they are nice and pointy and beautiful looking, kind of like this. Once they look like this and you are happy, go ahead and place them in the oven to bake for around, I would say 10 to 12 minutes, or until they are golden brown. Make sure you don't leave them in to get any darker. You do want them to be golden brown. Once you pull them out of the oven, you'll notice that the tops kind of crack. They don't really look that pretty, but that is all superficial because we are going to make a glaze and make them look really pretty. So once they are cool enough for you to touch, go ahead and take each one of these scones and place them on a cooling rack. You want them to cool completely. And then once they are cooled completely, you can get started on your glaze. For your glaze, all you're doing is adding your powdered sugar, your vanilla bean paste. Try to get every last drop out. Like I said, this stuff is pretty pricey. I didn't end up buying the one that was $140. I just couldn't imagine spending $140 for vanilla bean paste. I mean, who has that kind of money to be spending on vanilla bean paste? That was just crazy to me. I couldn't believe it. I know my sister had mentioned that when she came over last year, but I couldn't believe it when I saw it with my own eyes. Like, come on, that's way too expensive. So I just ended up buying a smaller container off of Amazon because ain't nobody got money for that. You know what I'm saying? I also added my heavy cream to this mixture and mixed it until it was all combined. You're going to probably need more or less depending on your climate, the weather, and all that good stuff. So I did end up adding extra. I just added it to my ramekin that had my vanilla bean paste in it because my vanilla bean paste kind of dried up and I was trying to get every last drop of it out. I mean, if I would have known vanilla bean paste was going to go up so much, I would have bought like 5 containers and it would have lasted me my whole life, and probably for my kids and grandkids, for all you know, because that is pricey. So you want your glaze to be runny. You don't want it super runny and you don't want it overly thick. Give it a good mix. And once it looks something like this, kind of like this consistency, as you see mine, you know you are ready to start dipping your scones. So start dipping the tops of your scones gently and you can shake the extra off. Make sure you are working with these quite gently just because these scones, they tend to be super delicate and fragile. So if you do need to take off any extra glaze, just shake your hand or tap your hand, but don't tap the scones on the glass bowl or on any bowl just because they'll kind of break apart, just to let you know. So go ahead and glaze the tops of your scones. Make sure you allow the glaze to cool completely because this glaze will take a little bit of time, and if you're trying to package it up or take it somewhere, it will kind of get scuffled. I know I placed these in a Ziploc bag to take them somewhere, and they kind of got scuffled on top. I wasn't too happy about that, so they do take a little bit of time to harden. I also went back and re-dipped some of my scones that I scuffled with my hands. Once your scones are done being glazed, allow the glaze to completely cool on the cooling rack. Now, these scones are going to be a little bit different than Starbucks. If by a little, I mean a lot. First off, they have the vanilla beans running through the inside of the scones and on top of the glaze, which is gorgeous if you ask me. Starbucks, they didn't really add that much paste, vanilla bean paste. I mean, can you blame them? So this is what Starbucks scone and my scone look like side to side. So mine is a little bit more golden brown. Mine was a little bit more vibrant in color overall, and that's probably because I did use an organic egg, and organic eggs are more colorful and tend to have more nutrients than just your regular egg. So when they're right next to one another, you can't really tell the difference. Starbucks looks pretty similar to what mine looks like. Maybe you can see the extra vanilla bean paste in mine, but for the most part, they do look very similar. In flavor, I don't think they really do compare. So this is the one from Starbucks. As you can see, there is a fingerprint in there, and that is not from me. That is actually, I think, from the bakery once they made it. Maybe when they were packaging it, I think it got scuffed. Then that's what I was saying. Just be careful when you're glazing them to not scuff them. I'm going to break the Starbucks one, and you can see it is crumbly and the glaze is hardened by now. When I went ahead and broke mine, you can see the glaze has not set yet, but it isn't as crumbly as Starbucks. I do think that the flavor of my homemade one is way better than the Starbucks one. The Starbucks one was a little bit bland, but that's just because it's made in a bakery. They're not going to use the highest quality ingredients. Mine, of course, had more flavor. I thought it was a lot richer, a lot better, but that's just my opinion. I think homemade food is a lot better than anything you can buy at the store. Now, I don't mean to toot my own horn when I say that I think these scones that I made at home were way better than Starbucks. Babe, what'd you think? What'd you think? What did you think? That didn't make any sense.
I think they're way better than Starbucks. The Starbucks one seemed kind of dry and dull. It wasn't even very sweet. The glaze was not even very tasty, and it was really hard. Kind of cracked like glass. Cut my mouth all up and I chewed it.
Okay, but in all fairness, our glaze wasn't set completely.
Even if it is, I think it's definitely way better.
So I'm not tooting my own horn or our horn, but these are really better. These are so much better than Starbucks. I know some of you guys hate it when I say it. I get comments like, you're saying that yours are so much better. Why are you like, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying it because homemade stuff are way better. Duh, hello. I'm just kidding, but seriously, make these at home. You guys won't want to go to Starbucks to get their bland scones. Even though sometimes when I'm in a hurry, not gonna lie, I go and get Starbucks, even though I can make it at home and it's like way better. The coffee is just...
I think it's just kind of like the whole idea of you sit down at Starbucks, you get your coffee, you get a scone, you feel fancy.
Oh yeah, okay,
dip it in.
When was the last time you sat down at Starbucks? I don't even remember. It's been like years.
And when I was in college, probably. Doing
Oh
homework.
my gosh, yeah.
Imagine how much better Starbucks would be with a scone and a coffee.
Yeah,
and
totally.
A laptop doing your essay.
I could never do that. I remember my friends used to do that. I'm like, how do you guys focus? Like the music's blasting, there's a bunch of people. Like, give me a quiet room and let me do my work, okay?
I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but hey, if you do that, you do you, boo-boo. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch my videos. Make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel down below and check out my other videos, hopefully down this way. And I'll make sure to leave a playlist of some sort for Starbucks, I think up here right now or before this video is over. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Bye.